everybody. Today's lesson is 6-7, using percent equations. We're going to start out with a little review, finding percents, finding parts, finding wholes. Remember the direct translation between English and math. 37 is what percent of 408, things like that. And then we're going to move into usage of percent in real life, like discounts. When items are discounted, there's a certain percentage off the retail price, so what would it cost then? And then we're going to talk about simple interest, and there's a formula for that you're going to need to know. All right, so let's go ahead and delve right in. We'll go ahead and start with this example. Find 52% of 85. All right, so we could say 52% of 85 is what? So 52% of 85 is what? All right, well, we just go ahead and multiply this. Okay, I think it's easier to change 52 hundredths into a decimal, so 0.52 times 85. Handy dandy calculator tells me that that is 44.2. So 52% of 85 is 44.2. Let's talk very briefly about whether or not that's reasonable. Is it reasonable? Well, what's 52%? Well, 52% is about 50%. What's 50%? 50% is about half. What is about half of 85? Well, what's that, 42.5? But it's a little more than half. So 52% of 85 should be a little more than half of 85. And we've got 44.2. Okay, let's try another example. This example asks us to find 28 is what percent of 70? 28 is what percent of 70? All right, well, I can go and I can solve this equation. I can divide both sides by 70, and that makes 70 over 70 is a factor of 1. And I can go ahead and do that calculation if I want. Or I can just continue. I'm dividing by 100 over here. So if I multiply this side also by 100, or 100 over 1, multiply this side by 100 over 1, 100 on the top and 100 on the bottom make a factor of 1. So what I've got on the right-hand side is x equals, and on the left I've got 100 times 28, which is 2,800, divided by 70. Okay, 2,800 divided by 70. Please don't grab your calculator for this. Notice factor of 10 comes off there. Let me do that in a different color. Factor of 10 comes off here. And I've got 7 divided into 280. 7 goes into 28 4 times. So the answer should be 40. All right, so 28 is 40% of 70. Not so bad. How about another example? We'll just keep moving around the quantity that we don't know. 18 is 45% of what number? Well, again, direct translation is easiest. 18 is 45% of what number? All right, well, depends on how you look at this. You can multiply both sides by 100 to get rid of this down here, divide both sides by 45 to get rid of that up there, or you could do this. You could say 18 is equal to 45 over 100. I'll turn that into a decimal, 0.45 times x. Now I can go ahead and in one step say I'll divide this side by 0.45, which is okay as long as I also divide this side by 0.45. 0.45 over itself simplifies to a factor of 1. I'll do this over here. So I get x on the right side, and on the left I have 18 divided by 0.45. Quick check. Is this number going to come out to be bigger than or smaller than 18? Okay, I'm dividing something into 18. If I'm dividing 18 by 2, I'm cutting it in half. But if I'm dividing by a decimal, notice, a decimal number less than 1, I should say, that the result is going to be bigger than 18. All right, and in fact, when I take 18 and divide by 0.45, I get 40. Okay, and go back and see if this makes sense. 18 is 45% of, well, this says it should be 40. What's 45%? Well, 45 is almost 50%, which is almost half. So 18 is almost half of 40. Okay, do you see that? So this is a reasonable answer. Okay, so we're not coming out with exact, because 45 isn't exactly 50. So 18 is almost a half of what number? And the answer is 40, and we can calculate that out using this equation. Okay, now let's see where we may be able to use this in real life. If we're talking about discounted items, you see things on sale all the time. And a lot of times they don't take off $5 or $10. Sometimes they take off a percentage of the retail price. So let's see what that looks like. So here's a question involving discount. So Joe wants to buy a skateboard. The regular price is $135. That's what it costs normally. But right now it's on sale at a 25% discount. Okay, what discount means is that's the amount they are taking off the regular price. So they're not taking off $5, they're not taking off $10 off of every skateboard, because every skateboard is priced differently. They discount it at a percentage of the regular price. So you're asked to find the sale price. There are two ways to do this. So I could say the first way is the sale price is equal to the regular price minus the discount. Sorry, that says discount. I had to cram it in there. So the sale price is equal to the regular price minus the discount. Okay, well, what is the discount? The discount, let's say discount, is 25% of regular price. Okay, that's what the discount is. Okay, because the discount is 25%. And what 25% discount means is 25% of the regular price. Well, I can just make this into I can just make this into an equation. The discount is 25% of regular price. So 25% is 1 over 4, so it's a quarter. And 1/4 of 135 is, handy dandy calculator tells me 33.75. So that's the discount. So I can go over here and say from equation number 1, the sale price is equal to the regular price minus the discount. So the sale price is equal to 135, that's the regular price, minus 33.75. And that gives me a sale price of 101.25, and that's dollars. Okay, so that's one way to look at this. So the sale price is equal to the regular price minus the discount. So I have to go ahead and do a little bit of work first and find the discount. And once I find that discount, I subtract it from the regular price to find the sale price. Okay, that's one way to do it. Let's investigate another way. Some of you may have figured this out already. If the regular price is $135 and the discount is 25%, what is the amount, the percentage amount that this will cost? Okay, so if regular price is equal to 100% of the price and the discount in this particular case is 25%, and the sales price is regular minus the discount, the sales price, what you have to pay, if it's 25% off, you have to pay 75% of the regular price. Okay, so yet another way is I could say the sales price is equal to 75% of the regular price. Because if it's 25% off, I have to pay the rest of the 100% of the original. They're taking 25% off for me, so I only have to pay 75%. So I can just go back and direct translate this. The sale price is 75% of the regular price. So I get 75 over 100 is 0.75, or 3/4, times 135. And guess what you get for that? Right, 101.25 cents. It has to be the same sale price because we're asked the same question. We're just answering it in a different way. So you choose whichever way you like better. Okay, they both work equally well. You just might find one a little easier for you, and I'm going to let you make that choice on your own. Again, as long as you outline all the work you've done, you are free to choose the method that you like better. Last topic we're going to talk about today is simple interest. Okay, there's a couple of kinds of interest. One is simple interest, one is compound interest. Compound interest we'll talk about in a different class. But simple interest is the amount of money paid or earned for the use of money. Okay, so you've heard of interest before. If you have a savings account, interest is earned. Okay, if you keep your money in a bank, in a savings account, the bank will pay you for keeping your money there, and they do that by giving you interest on how much money you have in there. If you have a credit card, you have to pay interest to the credit card companies for letting you borrow their money. Okay, so we can use the formula to find interest as I equals P times R times T. All right, well, let's talk about what each of these mean. This is interest. So the interest, the simple interest that we're looking for, is equal to the principal, okay, principal like starting. Okay, that means how much money you have. So in the case of a savings account, it's how much money you put in the account to save. If I put $100 in my savings account, that would be the principal. This is the rate. Okay, this is the percentage rate. And I'm going to say as a decimal. Okay, it's just going to make it, oh my goodness, that is terrible writing. But that says as a decimal. Let me erase that so you can actually read it. Holy moly. Decimal. Okay, there we go. And this is the amount of time, and we'll say in years, that the money has been in the account. So let's say very quickly, if I have $100 and the interest rate on my savings account that I put that $100 into is 5%, which means they will give me $5 for every $100 that I put in that savings account every year. So after 1 year, I will have my 100. They'll give me $5 for 1 year, which means the interest will be $5. But how much money will I have in the account? Well, I started with 100 plus the interest, so it'll be $105 after 1 year. Okay, let's try and see what an example of a question involving this would look like. So this question is a little complicated, but let's go back to breaking it down, see if we can make it simple. Tim invests $1,200 at an annual rate of 6.5%. Annual means every year. So every year, the bank or whomever he invested this money with will give him $6.5, $6.50 out of every 100 he invests every year. How long will it take until Tim earns $195? Okay, so what that means is he's earning interest. The bank or the investment firm, whomever, is giving him $6.50 every year for every 100 he has. So after 1 year, he's going to have $6.50 times 12, right? Because he has $1,200 invested. He's going to get 6.5 for every one of those 100 every year. Okay, so how long is it going to take him to earn $195? That's going to be in interest. So I'm going to go to the formula. Interest equals principal times rate times time, and I'm going to fill in what I know. I don't want to try and rearrange anything yet. I'm just going to go ahead and fill in what I know. The interest is the money he earns. There's $195. So $195 in interest is equal to principal, which is $1,200, times the rate as a decimal, okay, because it's 6.5 over 100, or here's hoping you know how to do this pretty well already. You move to the left, 0.65 times, well, I don't know t, because that's what it's asking. How long will it take? So I'm going to leave my variable t there. Well, now I have an equation I can solve. So I just go ahead and say, keep simplifying this. So 195 is equal to 1,200 times decimal 0.65, and that turns out to be 78 times t, and then I divide by 78, 78 over 78 gives me a factor of 1. So I'm left with on the right t equals, and 195 divided by 78 is 2.5. So, answering the question, Tim will earn $195 in 2.5 years. All right, not so bad. Okay, get to practicing. Make sure you ask any questions should you have them, and I'll see you next time. If I